Hey there, what's going on? This morning we received a lot of exciting news about the new Xenoblade Definitive Edition coming out, and I'm just going to summarize and explain a little bit here about what's new and what exactly people are so hyped about with this new game. So Xenoblade is announced to be released about 2 months from now, Friday, May 29th, 2020. It will be available digitally or in stores. Retail is also carrying a collector's edition for the game, which includes a 250-page art book in America. But in Europe, it includes this, but also a metal book and a vinyl record with a music download code and also a poster. And in Japan, it also includes the art book along with a wall art and a CD instead of a vinyl record. The Americas kinda got the short end of the stick here, which is a bit in the spirits of the original release of the game, throwbacks to Operation Rainfall. At least it won't be a GameStop exclusive this time. The reason why the music on the record and the CD is so exciting though, is it's been announced that they've remastered every song in the game, which is 91 unique tracks in total. This can be heard in the trailer, especially with the voices and engage the enemy.
It's not me. It's the power of the Monado.
And if you don't already know, Xenoblade's soundtrack is really nice. I was really hoping for this, and they have delivered. Of course, the trailer shows off a lot more of the improved graphics over the original Wii game, which you may have already seen a bit with our previous comparison video. We see many of the main characters, and they are gorgeous, as so are the environments. The presentation starts out with the Xenoblade world, the Bionis and the Mechanis, with her fight scene, and the definition that can be seen on the two titans is outstanding. Everything looks so crispier. Heck, even just look at the sky. Beautiful. Although not everything is perfect. For instance, the modern day Bionis doesn't seem as touched up as the ancient one, looking a lot like the Wii model to me, and some of the ground textures are noticeably pixely on the zoom in, but still of course much better than the original, and it doesn't take away much, I think. They may still be making improvements here too. There's one detail in particular which is attracting lots of attention from fans of the series, which is that they changed the necklace of this character, Alvis's necklace, from a key to this, which may seem like a small detail, but actually has gigantic lore implications. Some are excited by this, while others prefer to have the original to the retcon. Only time will tell what other elements of the story may have been changed with this new release. They've also redesigned all the user interfaces and HUDs you see when navigating the game. One of these is they've introduced maps which are not only easier to read, but also appear to display quest marker lines, helping you to know where to go for quests. When it comes to combat, we see the combat system appears mostly unchanged, as we can see it incorporates the same 3-character auto attack and arts mechanics as before. They appear to better indicate if you are to the side or behind the monster you're fighting, and this exclamation point that showed up over the arch backslash makes people wonder if they may have introduced a new mechanic, such as planned critical hits. The similarity to the original may be a disappointment to fans of the series who wanted it to push more towards Xenoblade X or Xenoblade 2's combat style, but personally I've always been a huge fan of the way Xenoblade 1 handled it. However, I do hope they have some balancing of some of the more over-centralizing aspects, allowing for more fruitful creativity. Fashion gear has also been introduced into the game, which is where you can choose to have the appearance of one gear while having the combat stats of another. Players appreciate the opportunity to be able to both look good and fight good. Next, what is a pretty huge deal for those who have already completed the game, but also for those who haven't, is they've introduced an entirely new area into the game, highly based off of a beta map that was discarded in the development of the original game. It was, and still appears to be, a huge fleshed out area, which players can have the excitement of finally getting a full and complete exploration of, the Bionis Shoulder. It is an epilogue story called Future Connected, which takes place following the events of the story, expanding on what the future holds for all of our friends. Shulk appears to be building a new Monado-like weapon, which he crafted himself presumably, being that he is an applied scientist after all, and Melly has a pretty nifty staff herself. They are also both sporting new gear, which seems to be a modern adaptation on their traditional outfits. In the poster created this epilogue, there are also some Nopon buddies, which may be of some relevance, possibly a new party member or just a relevant NPC. It's also worth saying that they seem to have added new music into the game for this new area here. And it's hard to say what exactly it is, whether it's just background music for when you're exploring, which would give it quite a different feel from most of the other background music in the game, or it could just be something related to the story, or maybe there's a title screen for this area. It's hard to say. And who knows, it may have been even based off of the original Biana shoulder music they seem to have scrapped from the original game. Speaking of new gear though, from the art book, which has just been shown in small detail, we've already seen what are either new outfits for Shulk or redesigns of existing ones. There's likely to be plenty more of this across all of the playable characters in the game. Speaking of the art book, that's one other thing that some people are wondering about. It's 250 pages, just like the Xenoblade Secret Files art book, released to Japan extremely limited with the translation in France, but never released in America. I've been heading a collaborative project to translate this massive material art book, primarily so that much of the lore and developer comments within, which has been locked behind the language barrier, can finally make its way over to the English-speaking world. I'd recommend to subscribe to keep an eye out for a video on this and a plethora of other Xenoblade content in the near future. According to my Secret Files team, the art book being released with the Definitive Edition, which is a collector's edition art book rather than a materials art book, should not be expected to contain much lore and will be mostly pictures. Aside from the fact that it's about half the height of the Secret Files book, typically collector's art books contain a lot less content than the material art books, which take a lot of time to produce and are typically released at least a year after the game. Therefore, the collector's art book has no impact on the Secret Files translation project, which at this time is actually nearly finished, and I look forward to showing more about that in the near future. So finally, I have put a few links in the description that should be of interest to you, as there have been some full cutscenes and large VGM audio samples found through the Japanese Xenoblade website. There's also links to other relevant social media, which we can use to update you on any other new details. Please hit that subscribe button and notification icon as well to keep up to date on anything else we have developed here on YouTube. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Xenoblade content.